Hello, welcome to another live stream printing with Urban Pirate. Today we're going to do a little bit of front and back print with the Highland Heavy design, which is this one here. I've got it the right way around this time. So with this design, we've got this large design goes on the back of the t-shirt, and we've got this wee one here which goes in the front, so that kind of goes in the front pocket. So I'll show you how I set that up. So we don't have to do much of a clearing out in between the front pocket and the back print. It's a lot easier than having to clean all the screens off individually and then wait for them to dry and then start again. And it's just, yeah, it's a bit more, it's better for your time, I guess. We're not printing too many t-shirts today, it's just a small top up for the design, just because it was quite popular during the summer. Obviously we're a bit colder now. Not as cold as it was last week, which is good, so I'll not be shivering too much. So yeah, only print a wee small top up just for the events that we've got coming up and for the run up to Christmas. We've got a couple of Christmas markets coming up, a few other events hopefully if we can get them booked in. If not, it'll be the events for the run up to Christmas to fill people's stockings. So yeah, so we're just going to get set up with this. First is I'll get this clamp in a little bit to hold it in place and then get the heater going. So we need our flash dryer going. I'll turn you around here so you can actually see what we're doing. Slowly. So that's my board there, and this is my flash dryer. So this gets plugged in and let that warm up in time. Whilst that's warming up, I'm not too far over, hold on. There we go, you can see me a bit better there. So whilst that's warming up, we'll clean my board, we'll get our screen set up for that design, and then we can start prepping everything else that we need, such as the ink. We get the ink ready. I'll do a wee bit further over, there we go. Get our ink ready for it, and then hopefully we'll get printing in the next 5 minutes. That'll be excellent. So, my wee squishy bottle of water. This again just gets rid of all the lint and ooze that was on the board from the last time I was printing. Just a little bit of cotton roll, a bit of kitchen roll, which is covered in ooze. Let's get rid of that, and then just scrub off all the old stuff. So the reason I do this is there's glue already on the board. It's a water-based glue adhesive, so it just needs a wee bit of a spray and a bit of a heat, and it's ready to go again. You don't need anything too strong to hold your t-shirts down. Just tacky enough that holds it in place, because you'll still want to take the t-shirt off the board once you've completed it. And you can always top up with a little bit of glue if it's not tacky enough. And the way you know that it's not tacky enough is that when you lift your screen up, the t-shirt will come with it. And you don't want that, especially if you're doing more than one colour design, because then the t-shirt will move, and then it moves your position at place, and it gets a bit of a nightmare. A little bit further over, there we go. So that's warming up nicely. Just turn this over to dry that water off. Needs a bit of a wash. Plenty of loose going on here. So we're printing with a dark green ink. This is a made up mixture ink. It needs a wee bit of a stir. This one doesn't need much water added to it. It seems pretty fluid already. So I'm going to show you, this is the colour we're printing with today. Nice dark green. So this is just made by using two colours. So it's just the green, standard green ink, which I have somewhere, and black. So it's just the two colours mixed together. That's the beauty of any kind of inks, really. You can kind of mix it up. The Permaset's good out the tub, as I said, but if you need to make colours, you just blend them together. It's like being back at primary school. You're just mixing colours together. So that's all good with that. So first up, we're just positioning for the pocket. So it's this little design up here. Don't need to be too precious with it, but we do need to find our centre and I've got a centre line drawn on the board already. So whenever I'm making up the designs, there's always a registration marks. Even if it's a single colour, the registration mark above and below, so we can get the line straight for when we start printing. Sometimes it can go a bit off, depending on how you put your shirt on the board. That just comes with practice. So we'll tighten this up. We've got enough space there, so that's your off contact. Off contact is the space between the screen and the board. And the reason you want that is so that the ink isn't sitting on the shirt when you're printing. So it does pops back off. There should be a little pop, and it pops the screen back off the print. It just makes for a nice cleaner design, cleaner marking on the print. So keep that down. And we've got our tape. Squeeze all the nice. So we'll cover up as much of the other design as we can at the top, just because when we get to cleaning it out, we're not washing the whole board, we're not washing the whole screen, we're only cleaning out the actual small design we've got at the top, and then we'll start again at the back. So we're just taping up all the gaps so we can see what we're doing. Again, this is just normal parcel tape that I'm using. There are other tapes that you can buy. Some tapes are better than others. Some tapes have a tendency to stick to the screen and leave a mark. It will wash off, but it can ruin the screen if the glue from the tape falls into all the little gaps of the mesh. More tape here. I just need to cover my registration mark at the top of the design, which is on the back. Don't know if that'll be tacky enough, I'll just explain it for a while. There we go. So, the reason I do the top of the design at the back is because when you're moving your squeegee over the top, you want to clear the actual design completely, so it's not getting stuck or you don't feel hesitant when you're moving it. So that you know you've got plenty of space to clear the design, to leave the mark. I've got my wee clamp there, so that will hold it in place. The squeegee I'm using is just a really small, what's that, about 3-4 inches? Say about that. You just need enough to clear the space. I could probably do with a smaller one, but that's the smallest I have. But that's more than enough for the design. So, that's one of the easy parts. So what we start doing is we get our t-shirt and we get it in position. Now pocket prints are always quite awkward depending on the position that you want them. Kind of think of it as a sporting badge, like a footballer's badge. So you're kind of looking not too high, because then it looks a bit much, but you want it kind of just chest level. So where generally we say where a pocket print is, so it's at the pocket level. But sometimes when it's a design as small as that, you might want it a little bit higher, just because it throws the balance off of the design. So we'll work on the position there. So just a wee bit of paper there. Bring the design down, and I can mark out the top of the design, and then measure it with my hand. So that's going to be about 3 inches from the collar, and obviously off to the pocket side. So generally speaking, you're looking at about 7 to 9 inches from the collar to the pocket, and that's usually your centre line. But again, it depends on how big the design is. This is not a particularly large design, so I'd say a little bit higher up than normal, so about 7 inches from the top. So I think we're looking fine for that. So I've marked myself down here. So every t-shirt will be the same position. So my collar is just touching the top of my board. Again, all boards are different sizes and whatnot. So we use the glue to hold the t-shirt in place. Bring the board down. I've got my squeegee there already. I've already mixed up my ink. It's pretty liquidy. There we go. So So we don't need too much, just because of where it is and how big the design is. So dribble some on there, a bit more. Yeah, the more is better, because you can always put it away if you're not using it. It's not a case of it'll get wasted. I'll always go back in the pot. So do my flood, which covers the print design, fills it, preps the space. Quick couple passes, another flood. So I could leave it at that. That's not too bad. I'll let you show you. So there we are. That's the design there. So I could leave it with that, but what I'm going to do is give it a second passing. And the reason for the second passing is just adds more ink onto the design. So when it comes to washing it out, there's more ink there to hold it together. So we'll just go down again. We don't need to flash in between because it's the same colour and it's a dark colour on a light shirt. So that makes it a little bit easier to layer up. So you don't have to flash it in between, which makes this one a lot quicker to print. Some people are printing black on white. That's why you see a lot of white t-shirts, or like light colour t-shirts. They're a lot easier and a lot quicker to print on because you don't have that waiting time in between to flash each colour to layer it up. But then it means you've got a white t-shirt, and not everybody likes a white t-shirt. One of the most requested colours is generally a black. When I do a design on any stalls or any of the markets, one of the first questions is, does it come black? No. Generally is the case. Colours I've chose is the colours I've chose, and there's a reason why I've chosen them. Black is nice, but it doesn't make for a great stall if everything's the same colour. So that's fine. So we just need to let this one dry out a little bit before I layer it on top of the other t-shirt, because I don't want any wet ink to imprint on the back of the shirt. There we go. So yeah, when you're wearing it, your pocket will be at the top there. There we go. So we've got that touch dry. Good. Yeah, there's a lot of requests for black. Which when we started out, we did do quite a lot of black t-shirts. There was quite a few black t-shirts when we started out, but I like to try to go for neutral colours. So yeah, let's go blacks, sometimes black navies, browns, dark greens, rust's been a nice colour recently, or burnt, I think it's a burnt orange it's also referred to as. So these kind of colours are quite nice. They're quite neutral. You can wear them with kind of anything really. They kind of fit in. But this one's different. This is a nice bright kind of minty green. It's called sage green, I believe. And so it's quite a lot lighter, but it's a nice colour. So I'll keep it going for a wee bit longer. Generally, when I create a design, I'll keep a design going for a few years. Just again, because we do a lot of Highland Games, it's a lot of fresh eyes every year. So it's new people, they've not seen the design before. Sometimes it works out better for that. So I like to kind of keep designs if they're still selling. So, and there's a reason why we've still got the Scotland map place names design, which was one of the first designs ever created. I think we've been doing that design for about 15 years now. It's had a few tweaks here and there, but the design itself has pretty much stayed the same. But it seems like to be a timeless classic as such. So that design keeps going, and it will continue to go as long as it's popular, and it's good for locals as well as visitors. As has the Highland cow now. It seems to be quite popular enough that a few other companies have decided to steal the design. So that's another story. But yeah, these kind of designs don't have a timestamp on them, and that's what I quite like. I like if people are quite enjoying what we're creating, and they'll keep creating them. It's just me getting bored of looking at the design, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Keeps me fresh, keeps me coming up with new designs, got concepts. So yeah, you have to keep things going. So if you enjoy it, why not keep going? But yeah, so this design was created on the basis of attending Highland Games. We found that when we went to Highland Games, there wasn't much in the way of merchandise for those games. Sometimes you had a few generic things here and there, but generally most Highland Games do not have merchandise. They're usually run by volunteers, organised by the local council, or volunteers themselves. So they don't really go into looking at having much in the way of merchandise. So there was a lot of requests come when we were at the stall. Said, do you have any Highland gear, Highland Games designs with the place that we're in? I was like, no. And I wouldn't do that either for myself. Quite happy to design something for those Highland Games, but we wouldn't carry it because it'd only work for that one specific time, and you just don't know how much you would need, and then you have a lot of leftover stock, so we don't do that. But I thought, well, if I can come up with something a bit more universal for each game, so something that kind of celebrates the games themselves. So this one here was based around the heavy events. So it's one of the main draws for Highland Games is the heavy events. So the caber toss is the one that everybody kind of knows. It's more popular in the way of the fact that it's so odd, I guess. It's not often you see a man throwing a telephone pole around. So the caber tossing was the main drive, but there's generally four events within the heavy events Highland Games. You've got the first one's a shot putt. It's as it sounds, it's the same as the one that they use in the Olympics. It's just the heavy ball. Sometimes it's a stone, but usually it's a heavy ball, like a kind of cannonball, and it's whoever throws it the furthest. Pretty straightforward. And then you've got the hammer throw, which is generally it's a heavy ball at the end of a stick. So it's not as your traditional kind of hammer, like Thor's hammer or anything like that. It's more of a round ball at the end of a stick, and it's just throwing it as far as you can. So there's a lot of spinning involved. And usually the guys wear fancy shoes to do that event. It's essentially just they look like a pair of brogues, of like fashionable shoes with a large spike attached to the end of them. So what they'll do is they'll dig that in and they'll spin their body, but their foot stays the same. So it's more about the hip action, whirling this stick with the ball at the end around their heads, and then they'll let go, and obviously the furthest is better. Position in here. There we go. So that's the second event, and the third event's generally the caber. Now you think that there would be the last event, but generally by the time they come to the last event, you're kind of towards the end of the day, so not everyone's still around. So yeah, so they'll I think they try and fit the caber in so that they kind of get the maximum eyeballs on the actual event, and that's kind of why people are there anyway, I think. So the caber's just as it sounds. It's just as it sounds, and the caber's just as you'd think it was. So it's the short run holding a large telephone pole. Generally, it's a telephone pole, and the idea is to flip it on its head and have it land straight. So you're running, and then you just toss the end you're holding up into the air. So the idea is to flip it over, and then it's landing at 12 o'clock. It's a lot easier than it sounds, as you'd expect. I think it's quite a heavy thing to throw. Generally, I think there's about 40 kilos, 50 kilos. But each day will be different because, like, if it's raining that day, the caber might get waterlogged, so it'll be very heavy that way with water. Or it's just a larger caber, or it's just the type of wood that they use will sometimes affect it as well. And then in Inveraray Highland Games, It's usually the start of July, the second weekend in July, so it's Tuesday. They'll have the World Caber Championships. So with this one here, they have the largest, or rather the heaviest caber, and it's officially recognised as a championship. So, so it's, yeah, the winner of that one holds the crown for the caber tosser of the year, essentially. And then after the caber, they have a weight for height, which is generally just it's like a kettlebell that they throw over a bar. Obviously, the highest wins, and that's usually the last event. But there are some alternatives as well. They have sometimes some games have sheaf toss, not a sheep, a sheaf. So that's just using a hay bale and a fork. So they'll stick the fork in and throw it again as high as they can over a bar. So they've got sheaf toss. Sometimes they have a chain and ball toss or throw, which is much the same. It's kind of the same as the hammer toss, the hammer throw. A lot of tossing. I don't want to do much tossing, but yeah, there's a hammer throw. But it's a weight, again it's like a kind of kettlebell weight on the end of a chain, and that's what's swung around their heads and thrown. And also there's the shot put ones that obviously they throw stones. Sometimes they've got a big muckle stone, which is the big one that you use 2 hands, and the idea is to launch it as far as they can. So those are sometimes those are other heavy events at Highland Games. But generally, your classics are your 4. So you've got your shot put, your hammer toss, caber toss, and your weight for height. So I like to create a design that kind of encapsulates the actual process of the heavy events, which is where I came up with this one. So this one, my Highland Heavy, again, is inspired by those 4 events. And the design itself has elements of each of the event on it, which you'll see when I start putting the back. I've got a little woodland there to represent the cabers. I've got the actual weight that you use for weight for height. I've got the wee ball that you use for the shot put, and it's like a kind of skull and crossbones type thing with for the hammer, the wee ball on the end of the stick. There we go. So this is a nice quick one. So yeah, so I created that design. Not last year, year before, I believe. I think it was 2023. It's been really popular. It's obviously really popular with the larger folks. So yeah, the heavy events, beefers, the big guys and girls. There's a lot. This year there's a lot more heavy events for kind of the ladies now as well, which never used to be, which is really good. So they get involved as well. Same events, just a different weight class, I guess. So they use I don't know if they use a slightly heavier or slightly lighter weights. It's just as impressive. I certainly couldn't do it, even though I get asked a lot at my Highland Games. Is like, when are you competing? When are you taking part? It's like, I've never done it. I'd probably be a puff just lifting the thing up. But maybe one day I'll give it a go. Who knows? But no, my events don't start. Outdoor events don't start again until May. My first games is usually Blair Atholm. Hello everybody that's joining the group. Just doing a bit of live print, hopefully you can see what I'm up to. Yeah, in the Highland Games I don't start until May. My first one is generally Blair Atholm. Oh, actually no, that's a lie. Blackford is usually my first one, because Blackford happens the day before Blair Atholm. So I usually do that as a wee journey up the road. And that's usually towards the end of May, and it's the third weekend. and then I'm pretty much at Highland Games every weekend until September. So yeah, I can get a full summer season booked in. There we go. And I've been doing that for the past 15 years with Urban Pirates. So it's been really good. It's like its own wee microcosm of community. You see a lot of familiar faces. A lot of people do the circuit, as they refer to it. So a lot of people do the same games every year. There's a whole variety of things that are sold. People sell sweets. There's a lot of artwork. A lot of people sell artwork. There's been a few other people selling t-shirts, but not the same t-shirts as me. Sometimes a little bit different. A lot of food, a lot of good food crafts. One of our best buddies are Scottish Pizzas. They do quite a few of the events, and we always look forward to finding out if they're going to be there, because then that's our lunch sorted. We do like a wee Scottish pizza. Cool. Yeah, Highland Games are always good fun to try and go along to. Everyone is different. There's a lot of them have their own unique events. Some of them try to have running events. Some of them have cycling events. They obviously have the heavy events. There's a lot of audience participation for a lot of the Highland Games. So they'll have an internationals run. So they'll have a lot of people, they'll put a call out. It's like every this age group from abroad will come and join in and have a run. Some of them take it very, very seriously. Some of them do look like they're splitting their head open half the time if they take a wee tumble. But if you're going to win whiskey, where else to win whiskey than at Highland Games? Blair Atholl's quite a good one. It has Blair Atholl itself, Blair Atholl Castle, has its own military. So they come down all dressed up, and they have a wee race amongst themselves. They have like a 1 o'clock gun that goes off. I think at 1 o'clock. So they have a cannon that goes off, which surprises everybody every year, which is always quite amusing. I'm surprised the dogs don't just go for a run as soon as it goes off, because it's very loud. So they have a wee Highlanders run. They also have a wee Highlanders tug of war. So they get, I don't know if they get publican with that one, but usually it's amongst themselves. So they'll split themselves into two groups and they'll have a wee tug of war. They also take part in the Highland dancing. So a lot of Highland Games have the Highland dancing as well. Those guys are, what's the word? They're passionate, I would say. Highland dancers are there before we even set up. They're there from the crack of dawn. They might have been camping out the night before, to get the best spot. So they have a lot of them turn into a bit of a Highland dancing village. There's so many tents. So yes, you have your Highland dancing as well, which is always good fun. What else? There's a Highland Games play. Bearsden and Mulgai Highland Games have a haggis tossing competition. So it's haggis hurling, it's haggis hurling. So who can throw the haggis that they have the furthest. I think generally they use a frozen haggis. And as obviously the day goes on, it gets less and less frozen. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Because obviously if it's frozen, it'll kind of stick to your hand. Or obviously as it's defrosting, it'll get a bit slippy. So you have to stand, for that one you have to stand on top of it's a half whiskey barrel. And then just however you want to throw it, underarm, overarm, just launch it. As long as you stay on the whiskey barrel, that's the criteria to win. So you have that one for there. What else? We've done Dunkeld. Burnham Highland Games. It's one of the later ones of the year. They have a haggis eating competition. I would love to get involved in that. I love my haggis, but I have to man the stall, so unfortunately I don't get the opportunity. What else have we got? Can't think of too many others. Some of the games is quite good. Like, some of the games you're set up and you're surrounding the ring. Some games have it set up so that you're in like a trader's village, which works out fine as well. Just as long as the weather's good, you'll be in. There you go. So Highland Games, yeah, I enjoy the Highland Games every year. Always look forward to it, and you get about halfway through the year or halfway through the season, and it's like it's quite a lot of heavy work. It's a lot of early starts, it's a lot of driving. Highland Games are exactly that. They're in the Highlands, so there's a lot of travelling north, beyond Perth. And for us, based in Glasgow, it's not too bad. I mean, it could be worse. But yeah, there's a lot of either early mornings or overnights that we need to do. So not necessarily a bad thing. Now that I'm getting on a bit, my bones are starting to ache. So generally, I've said to myself, if I have to travel more than an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm staying overnight. I'll find a wee B&B somewhere nearby. I've been in a hostel, Balta hostels, brilliant as well. Been there a couple of times too. Yeah, we'll stay overnight, and then it'll be a lot easier in the morning, so we don't have to worry about getting up at 5 o'clock and just travelling, and then setting up, and then doing your day, and packing up, and then driving back down the road. It's a long day. Most days you don't come back. You're not home till after 9 o'clock, and that's you starting it. It sounds like I'm moaning, but I'm not really moaning. But you're starting about 7 o'clock in the morning to get where you're getting, to get set up. So it's a good 12-hour day anyway, on your feet. But it's worth it. Well, I think it's worth it. I enjoy doing it. I think it's good fun. But there's a lot of people request or suggest travelling to the States or Canada to do the events over there. Our events are usually a few thousand people, but over there I think they're classified more as essentially festivals, because they become more like 10,000 people, which is quite a lot. And I would love to go over, but I wouldn't be able to take all my stuff. I don't know, I'd need to have a dedicated container to carry everything with me. But yeah, maybe in the future, who knows? Maybe I'll get something organised. But right now I'm quite happy with the Scottish ones. I get to see plenty of the sights. Some of the drives up to these Highland Games are brilliant. I do the road to Balta from Perth is amazing. You get good views up there. Up and down the hills. Glen Shee is a great drive. So the majority of the games are kind of towards that area. And you meet some plenty of famous folks. Our first celebrity really was at Blairgowrie Highland Games, or Blairgowrie and Rattray Highland Games, and we've seen some filming happening, which was for the American 18 kids and counting, or 13 kids and counting at the time. So I don't know if they're with the Mortimer family. Then there's the family with the multitude of kids, and they're travelling everywhere. So they came to the Highland Games and joined in with the tug of war, which the tug of war is the longest. I think it's the longest tug of war rope in Europe. I think. The idea is each end is either Blairgowrie or Rattray, so it's a local rivalry. Although it doesn't really matter who takes part. You pick a side and you stick with that side. And you get, I think, regardless, you get a wee badge at the end saying I pulled at the Blairgowrie Rattray Highland Games. So if you want to pull somebody, then you have to play Gowrie. But you'll be pulling them off their feet in a bit of rope. Who knows? And this is a quick one. This is because it's a small design on the pocket. It's a bit of a rapid fire to get through it. So the back print will take a little bit longer, but because it's only a single colour and I'm not flashing in between, it's a bit of a rapid printing. So this live certainly won't be as long as last week's. I'm quite impressed that some managed to last the entire 2.5 hours of us printing. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for checking out the video. The video will be going up live. It'll be getting posted up after the live finishes. So if you do miss it, or well, if you're not here, you can watch the rest of the video, or you can tell your friends about it, or yeah. So we've got a video. What's this? He's doing the British beard competition now. So that one's in the end of August, isn't it? I think we might be. I'm not 100% sure. I need to check my calendar. There's a few other events. It's a busy couple of weekends, that one, at the end of August. Potentially yes, but I'm not 100% sure. I will need to double check my calendar. But it's a good wee event, that through in Ayrshire. Some of this. So yeah, the beards, the Ayrshire Beard Championships. I think next year they are hosting the British Beard Championships. It's over 2 days, or is it just 1 day? Again, I'm not sure. I'll need to double check all that. But yeah, we like to mix up our events. So yeah, we do a lot of Highland Games, but we've been doing festivals recently as well. Say recently, past couple of years. So the most recent one, the festival we're doing now has been Belladrum, which is brilliant. It's a great festival. I would probably go to it myself just for the sake of going for it. So yeah, Belladrum's always good fun. We did the downhill mountain biking championships, which was in Fort William. It's usually mid-July, but they don't do that anymore. They've kind of stopped with that, so that's a bit unfortunate. That was a weird one. We turned up, obviously, selling Scottish t-shirts and tote bags and tea towels, and we were like, is this going to be the right market for us, because it's all mountain biking gear? But no, it turned out good fun. It's good fun. It's enjoyable to watch. Everyone's there they're all kind of outdoorsy, so they're all in a bit of a good mood. Make sure I'm going to clean this up. 2 seconds. So for cleaning up this, I've just got a dirty rag with it's a little bit wet, and we'll take that ink off the board using tea towels. So we'll just remove the ink from the back of the board. It's actually as clean as possible, because we will be using the rest of the board. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So it's starting to dry in already, even though it's not been warmed. And we remove all the tape that we placed down. So the tape comes up. There you go. And goes in the bin. And then we just use our damp cloth to clean the rest of the ink around about the area. There we go. I've still got tape on there. I was wondering why that wasn't clean. There we go. So that cleans the ink out of the design, so that we can use that again. Don't need to dry that any more than we need to. Then we'll get a clean bit of kitchen roll to dry it out, because the tape won't stick very well to a wet screen. So we dry it out as best we can, and that's us ready for the next one. So we need to reposition again for the back. I'll show you the design. No, I'll show it when I print it. So we need to reposition again so we get the back print lined up properly. You can see what we're doing. I'll just the wrong way. There we go. Yeah. So I've got my lines that I can see. Hello. So these t-shirts are all kind of dried off. So we'll bring them back over to my original starting point. There we go. There's a little bit ink on the board, so we'll just get rid of that so it doesn't transfer over on the inside. Not that you see it, but it's best trying to keep things clean. Happy days. Dry that off again so it's nice and tacky. So where was it? Yeah, so we've done there's been a few other events, and we're trying to look into some new events as well next year. Highland Games are always good fun, but it's nice to kind of make things a bit more variety. Heartland was a new one in Perthshire. I think it's Pitlochry. We'd applied to get in there, but apparently their spaces are all full. So if anybody knows Heartland and Pitlochry, could be putting a good word to maybe squeeze in the corner. I don't mind squeezing in the corner. I can get in some really strange places, despite the fact I'm 6'5". I'm surprisingly good at hide and seek. Don't know how that's happened, but yeah, there's a possibility of just, yeah, I'm just good at hiding. Okay, so this is the back print. Cover up my registration marks. So this is just to stop the ink from flowing over the edges, because the emulsion only covers so much. So what we want to do is try and hide the rest of the gaps, so that when you do push your squeegee over, you're not pushing any ink. I want it to be. So we just use parcel tape to kind of hide up those spaces. Do our best to cover up the design that we've got on there. A bit of an angle. We can hide the design so we're not pushing two designs into one t-shirt. So for this print, do I want that one? No, I want the longer one. So that's it's the largest squeegee I've got. So I went from the smallest squeegee to the largest squeegee. So that one's about 16 inches, I think, just under. 14 inches possibly. So this bad boy will cover this design. So yeah, so we're about 1.5 inches over the edge of the design, just so that it clears the space. That's fine. So that's the glue. So for the back print, again, positioning, we want it about a hand, 4 or 5 inches from the neck at the back. You don't want it too high, because then it'll look a bit unbalanced at the bottom. Because it's the back print, it's quite a big space. That's way too high. So a couple inches, yeah. So that's the baseline there. So that's, so yeah, we're looking about 5 inches from the back, just because there's a lot at the back. You've got a lot of space at the back of the nape of your neck and on the shoulders. So you're kind of looking to start across the start across the shoulders. I'll get the words right eventually. So that's where we generally want to start. It's across the shoulders. Again, some designs suit different things. So that's where we're starting for this one. So we'll need a lot more ink on this because obviously it's a bigger design and I'll use up more ink when I'm printing. So we'll just pour that out. There we go. Save some for later, in case we need it. And we start off with our flood as before. So we're filling all the gaps. And then pressure, pull. So I generally do 3 passes, sometimes 3 or 4, so it gets all the ink out. So there we have a gap somewhere, so that's not ideal. So what we'll do with that, right. So what's happened there is that the tape is not held properly, so we'll just need to cover it up on the other side. That's okay, we can get that cleaned off after the fact. We just need to let it dry and then we'll use a pressure washer. It's like a pressure washer, it's called a spot cleaning gun. We'll use a spot cleaning gun to get rid of that ink. It's not ideal, but that's okay, we have these problems, we have these issues. So we just let that dry, so when we do it, it doesn't transfer back onto the screen. Put it back up. Oh, I've got too much paper there. Don't want to block the actual design that I'm trying to print. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, so there's been a wee gap in the tape that went down, and it's just transferred over to the design. So I'll show you this one. So that's the design there. As you can see, we've got the trees there for the caber tossing. We've got the shot putt, which is the wee balls underneath the word heavy. You've got the heavy weight, I guess, for the weight for height, and then you've got the wee, I'll get rid of that. And then we've got the sticks to show off the hammer throw as well. So that's the 4 designs all into one, 4 events into one. And on the front we've got the wee pocket which has the weight that is used for the height. So that's 56 pounds, which is the kind of standard mains weight that they use. As I say, I don't know what the weight is for the female events, but I would imagine it's not going to be light. It'll probably still be heavy. So yeah, we're always looking for new events. See, Highland Games are always pretty good fun to do, but it's nice to kind of mix things up a bit. So recently we've been doing the Ballarton Duck Festival. Initially I turned them down because I thought, off the back of doing agricultural shows, I thought it was, we've got another spot, we have another spot, that's not great. I thought it was an agricultural show to celebrate ducks. So I thought there'd be lots of varieties of different ducks at an event. Turns out I was wrong. It's not an agricultural show based around ducks. It's a giant inflatable duck race that they have every year in Ballarton. So that's usually the beginning of June, if I remember correctly. Sometimes it's changed dates a couple of times, but usually the beginning of June. And essentially it's just you bet on a duck, and these things are massive. They must be about 8 foot tall and about 8 foot wide. So So you've got these giant ducks that race down the River Dee, I believe. Whatever river it runs through Ballater. So they race these ducks down the river, and then the winner gets paraded through the streets. So it's more of a market, I suppose, rather than a festival as such. But it's been good fun. It's been good fun to do. As well as obviously the Highland Games, as I said. So we'll do Ballater Highland Games as well. This is a few weeks later. What else have we got that's different? So we've got the festivals, Duck Festival. So we used to do the mountain biking, but that doesn't happen anymore, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, well, the beard, obviously did the beard competitions as well, so did the beard competition in AR. And there was the Thunder in the Glen. So Thunder in the Glen was another good one. It was essentially, to describe it, it's a Harley Davidson festival in Aviemore. It's not happening next year, just because I think management are just tired of trying to wangle space, and basically Aviemore just reaping the rewards from everybody else's hard work, I think. But yeah, they're taking a wee hiatus next year, and it's always a really good festival. It brings out a lot of nice people. Everybody's really friendly at it, and it's good music if you're into your kind of rock and heavy metal kind of thing. So that usually happens towards the end of August as well. But as I say, that won't be happening this year, next year. It was a bit of a shame, but it'll be fine. I mean, I'm sure it'll make it come back in the future, in some form, I would hope. It's ran by the Dunedin chapter of Harley Davidson through I think they're based in Edinburgh. And I think if they set it up as a proper festival in a field, I think it would be really good. But I don't know the organisation, the process that goes into those things. So yeah, I would hate to hate to think how much management is involved in those kind of things. And so I do find screen printing very therapeutic because of the, I wouldn't say monotony, it's the repetition. You just switch your brain off a little bit and you just kind of get into your groove. Which I always find really fun. Well, it's fun when it goes right. Obviously, if things start going a bit awry, then it can be a bit more of a challenge. That's 2 coats of that. So as you can see, doing a single colour can be quite quick once you get it going. As long as you've got your design and the setup and everything, your ink ready to go. If you don't need to flash in between, it definitely cuts back in the time required to do the printing. So as long as I've got it dry, the ink's dry on the other t-shirts so I can layer things up. Makes things a bit easier. I'm glad it's a bit warmer this time round. It was rather chilly last week, but I feel as if I'm sweating this time round. I don't know what's happening with with our temperatures in Scotland as per usual. Let's just try to trick us into a false sense of security. So yeah, these have been a popular design over the Highland Games. As I said, people looking for souvenirs for the events. So I'm hoping to kind of create some new designs for next year, based around the games. I'm feeling quite enthusiastic about creating some new designs. So I've got a few ideas for some hoodies. So maybe I'll do some hoodies next time when we're printing live. I'll try and do the printing live as often as I can to see if people are interested or people are not interested. Don't matter to me. I'll put my screen on and I'll see what happens. If people want to join in, if they've got any questions about what's going on, or if they just want to talk about the weather, quite happy to do that too. Just showing you there's an actual live process. It's not someone else doing the work, it's me that's doing the work here. It's not just a quick press and then we're done. These are all made by batch, by myself, in my garage. I'll say workshop, we'll call it work, it's a workshop. But I'm hoping to have a wee a wee YouTube channel going up. I need to work on some scripts and things for that, to basically tell people what it is that I do and why I'm doing it. If we can get enough people following me, I can maybe start doing lives on YouTube. It'll be slightly different, I suppose. It'll be a different resolution anyway. You'll be having to hold it at sides, because I think they do more of a landscape. Landscape recordings, which is fine as well. I can do that too. Ten teachers to do. There we are, only taking an hour, so it's definitely a lot quicker than what it was last week. So, had over a few viewers as well. That's been nice. Nice to show that some people tuned in their lunchtime. Almost forgot, I did 2 layers. There we go. Starting to run out of ink a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I'll have enough to get to the end of the batch. I don't need to add any more on. Makes things a bit easier if you're not using the flash dryer, because it doesn't dry out the ink on the screen. It stays pretty fluid, so that makes things a bit easier. There are a few things left on my plate for today. I've got Christmas cards to design. So we'll also be designing our Christmas card for this year. And out to everybody. You'll see it online. I will be putting it up online once it's finished. It's a wee Christmas cheer for everybody. To say thank you for following Urban Pirate. It's been an interesting couple of years as well. Things having to change a little bit, but people are still following us and interacting, which is great. So hopefully, as I say, doing some more of these lives, hopefully get more of an insight to what it is that we do. I do when it comes to creating things ready for events or for printing for other people. Sometimes I print a lot of designs for other companies you can do as well. See, these are all just my designs, but I can print pretty much anything. If anyone's got anything in mind, we'll try something different next time. So we'll print some hoodies, we'll print some tote bags. Just get the designs ready for that. But yeah, got Christmas card to do. I've got a shopping run to do with the in-law, which is not done in a while, but yeah, got a wee pick up, got a taxi Dave. So a wee pick up to do later on as well. Working on some new designs. I'm working on a new font to go with my new logo. I'm not retiring the original logo, the current logo, but I'm wanting to kind of update it a little bit. I think just to more in keeping with what's going on with the brand. There we go. So yeah, there's plenty going on. I also need to work on. I'm also looking to improve my awareness for doing these lives. I don't know how best to do that. Whether it be having a countdown, possibly. That I don't know if that would help. A direct link to the site. I'm not sure. I'm completely alien to all this, so it's just learning, which is why, there's a lot of information out there that you can get hold of. YouTube's pretty good for that. I'll say Facebook's pretty good for that too, if you look in the right places. Just keep yourselves informed. There we go, so we've got 2 left, and then we'll call it. I don't know, I'd imagine you're not really that interested in watch me wash out the screens again. It's a bit noisy, it can get a bit too much, so we'll probably just leave those for another day. So we'll do these, and then we'll say cheerio until the next time. You can join us next time for some hoodie action, the new design. I'm not even released yet. It is winter, so I do need to think about our layers. Obviously t-shirts are quite good for under layers, but everyone likes a hoodie as well, don't they? Should they do? There we go. So the reason I using a flood afterwards, as you can see there, even though I'm not printing anymore. The reason I do that is when it comes to washing it out, it means that there's ink in the gaps in the mesh, so rather than drying in, if there's a gap, if the ink's dried in the spaces in the mesh, it's a lot easier to wash out, just because you're washing out wet ink rather than wash out dried ink, which is why we do that. But anyway, so I'll leave that to another day. I'm going to wash out the screens. I'm going to cure my t-shirts using the heat press, which is this guy here. But you don't need to watch that, that's a bit more monotonous. This is a bit more interesting, I think. So, yeah, we'll leave that today. Hopefully we'll get a wee bit printing done next week. We'll try and do some hoodies, maybe get some tote bags in preparation for our Christmas markets. So we'll do some advertising for that. Well, we'll let you know where we're going to be and what we're going to be showing off. And obviously you'll see the actual Christmas market. Excuse me. You'll see the actual Christmas markets when we're there. But yeah, so that was our live for today. It's a bit of a quicker one today than it was last week. So thank you very much for joining us, or me, in my garage, and hopefully we'll see you again. We'll see you again next time. Thank you. Bye.